All right. I'm so glad that you guys are here for the Mama Bear class tonight. This is going to be an amazing class. Your minds will be expanded. Why is that? Because did you know, as women, we primarily are the main ones in our home that buy things and bring things into our home. We are the gatekeeper. We know what comes in our home. We know what goes on in our home. Some things do come as a surprise, especially when there's a quiet child or something like that, right? But at the same time, we pretty much know what's going on. We are the thermostat for our home too. So our reaction determines our reach to our kids. Our reaction and our temperature, right, for the thermostat, that is pretty much sets the mood for the whole house. And so we are very important. We have to be mama bears sometimes. We have to stand up for our rights. We have to stand up for what we believe in. So as a mom, I've had major mom guilt because I've made choices and decisions that I have now known that they were wrong then. But at the same time, I suffered with guilt, but I also suffered with a lot of fear because I reacted in fear, or I didn't feel empowered and I didn't feel like I could handle stuff from home. Then stepped in Young Living. Once I became a Young Living member, I felt empowered. I felt like, man, when this stomach bug hits us at 2 a.m., I know what I'm doing. I can do this. I can handle this. I don't have to panic and search and run around, you know. I don't have to run and run my kids. I was running my kids to the doctor constantly. And I didn't do that afterwards. And it's because I became empowered. It's because I started learning about these wonderful essential oils and plant juice and all things natural. And I became a mama bear that started taking care of all my little cubs, okay? And so tonight, we are going to help you become empowered, okay? And stay tuned, because at the very end, we have another class coming up, okay? You know what they always say on the airplane, whenever you're on the airplane, they say, put your oxygen mask on first, then you can take care of the others. So right now, many of us are running low on oxygen. We're not taking care of ourselves to be able to take care of our family. So we're gonna have an awesome class for moms and for us, talk about how we can take care of ourselves. So stay tuned, and we're gonna tell you more about that later. So tonight, my friends that are here and I'll let them wave whenever I introduce them. We have Melinda Hawk. She is on, and she's gonna share with us. We have Madison Goodyear, and we have Anna, and I don't want to mispronounce your last name, so you can pop in and you can tell us how to pronounce your name, Anna. Where's she at? McCarg. There you go.
I live down the road from her. It's McCarg.
All right. And so, all right, ladies. And you may have to unmute yourself whenever it's your turn to talk. All right. So without any further, let's get to it. Let's get started and let's be empowered tonight. All right. Go for it.
Okay, this is my section that I'm taking over, and I'm going to share briefly about the seed to seal and why that slogan sets Young Living apart. Because when I started 7 years ago, I had only ever heard of Young Living. Actually, I'd never ever heard of an essential oil, and I didn't know what that was. So zero knowledge in the beginning. And Young Living was obviously the first company I was introduced to. Well, in the last 7 years, lots of other companies have popped up. And in all honesty, I wanted to make sure that what I had got behind, what I was using on my kids, all of that kind of stuff really was the best. So some of the things that Young Living absolutely stands behind, and they call their 3 pillars. One is sourcing, science, and standards. And guys, I've been to their headquarters farm like 5 times, been to a couple of their other farms 2 different times. And so when they say, you'll see there like 3 pillars out there. It is legit. So we're going to go over sourcing really quick. They have their own farms and they have partner farms. But what I found really interesting is I started doing real digging. All of their farms absolutely 100% have to meet their standards. And if, sorry, hair in my mouth, if for some reason an oil batch comes in from one of their own farms or partner farms, it does not get passed on to us. It'll either be used as like, you know, their own kind of like pesticides on their fields. It'll be used as fertilizer, but it does not get bottled and it does not get sent to us. So if it does not pass their formulation and production standards, then, and it's not substantiated in any 27 processes that it goes through like 27 different processes 3 different times. So do that math. It does not come into the little bottles to us. It does not go into our products at all. The science behind what they do is they're the gold standard, and every other company compares themselves to Young Living. They have third-party testing on everything. They're the leading developer in essential oil products as well. But their whole standards on how they do things really spoke volumes to me when I went up to their farm in Washington 2 years ago. We got sent up there on a gold retreat. It's a leadership gift that you get to go, and they send you up and they pamper you and do a bunch of training and that kind of stuff. But we went up to the farm up there in Washington, and it was 101 degrees that day, and they were a day behind in their lavender planting. And they asked us, we're all wearing nice clothes, you know, because we're all like trying to impress each other out there on the farm, you know, and taking pictures in the lavender. And they were like, guys, we're a day behind, and this heat is not good for our little plants. We hand plant all of this. Would you 300 leaders please help us and get in there in the dirt with our farmers? And we were like, they're, you know, like, you don't have to, but those of you that can, please, you know, we would appreciate that. So for the next couple of hours in 101 degree heat in business attire, we were out there hand planting lavender and helped the farm guys get it in. And I went, okay, what they say they do, because I ruined my favorite shirt that day. Like, the pit stains never came out. So they gifted us with Ningxia Red and Coolazole pain cream and copious amounts of lavender water and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I was so tired by the end of the day. But getting to be part of that process was absolutely confirming that, you know, you see different companies say that they do all this kind of stuff. No, when you actually have to hand plant in 101 degree weather, and you don't actually get paid for it, it was truly a blessing for me. So that's my Seed to Seal story. And one of the huge reasons I have absolutely 100% stuck with Young Living, and why, you know, that's all I'll ever use. Okay, so I think it is Anna is going to go over some safety guidelines before we start sharing our stories, because this is important. I'll turn my mic off and Anna, you can go on.
Hi, I'm going to cheat because I have this cool book. You can see it, that has safety and tips. So I'm just going to breeze through it. So making sure your bottles are stored right and cool, safe location, so your oils will never expire. You have a favorite carrier oil close by when trying an oil for the first time, because if it feels hot or tingly sensation, you just can put a layer of fatty oil over top, like coconut oil. I just had someone text me the other day saying they got some lavender in their eye, and so I just said to put some coconut oil in there, and I'll just help draw it out. So that's always something good to know. And essential oils, you know, everybody's unique. So one thing that works for somebody might not work for another. So just be patient, and you might have to try something different. Just because somebody, you know, whatever worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So that's always just good to know. Keep them away from your eyes, and do not put them directly in your ear. And then also remembering that citrus-based oils are photosensitive and can increase skin reaction when exposed to direct sunlight. So yeah, I think that covers it. Next.
Okay, well, that was speedy, which is fine because I'm next and I tend to be extremely long-winded. So I'm Madison. And am I right? Am I next? Is this allowed? Okay, I'm going to keep talking. All right, I'm going to write down what time I started talking so I can keep track of myself. Okay, so I'm Madison, and my family has been using Young Living oils. We're coming up on 7 years, you guys. And it's one of those things where on one hand, I cannot believe it's been 7 years because it feels like, you know, time just flies because this is so much fun and you blink and that kind of time passed. But on the other hand, I can't really remember life before oils. And that sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but you guys, I think sometimes about moms who don't have oils, because I've been using oils for most of my mothering life. I think about moms who don't have oils, and I legitimately don't know what they do because we use our oils for everything. So I wanted to tell you a couple of stories that were some of my first aha moments, some of the first experiences we had with the oils that we went, okay, like we're onto something here. So when we first started using oils, and I say we, it was all me, you guys. My husband is a nurse, and he was very, it's not even that he was skeptical, he just didn't care. He was just like, that's cute, honey, you just, you know, do your thing. So when I first started using oils, the thing is, guys, the only reason I went to my first class is because I needed to interact with some other humans. I had a free babysitter lined up, and I wanted to get out of the house, and somebody invited me to a kooky oils party. And I was like, I don't even need to know what we're talking about. Like, if there's going to be some snacks and some grown-ups, I'll be there. So I went to this class, and I had one little baby. I mean, she was like, you know, a year and a half old or so, and I was pregnant. So I'm like right there in the zone, you know, I'm the mom. And I learned some stuff at that class, but I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever you say, if you think so. After that, I did try some oils because we were in a situation with my daughter. Like I said, she was about a year and a half old, and she was just not healthy. Lucy, well, her name is Lucy. She's 8 years old now. She had RSV really severely when she was 4 months old. In fact, she turned 4 months old in the ICU. Our hospital doesn't have a NICU, but you know what I mean. They put her in the intensive care unit. We were there for 11 days. And she was just really sick after that. Our doctor said, the thing is, she has had a severely compromised respiratory system and immune system, and she's just going to be a sick kid. And sure enough, from that point on, she was. We were constantly doing breathing treatments and different steroids, and if we weren't sick, then we were getting over a sickness. And if we weren't getting over a sickness, we were, you know, catching the beginning of a sickness. And we aren't those types of parents who take their kids to the doctor for any first sign of a sniffle or anything like that. But when your kid can't breathe, you got to pay attention to that. So it was just this vicious cycle of going to the doctor all the time. And she, you know, we kind of resigned to the fact at first that that's just the way it was going to be. But I always had this nagging feeling that that wasn't okay. That there was a better answer than that. There was health in our future. And so when I went to that class, at the class, I learned some stuff, but I couldn't stop thinking about them. And I just had this very strong intuition, the mother's intuition, that these oils would be important to us. So when I say that we were poor, how do I put this? I mean, we were really broke, you guys. So we didn't have the money to pay for it right away, but I got very creative and I came up with a way to buy the premium starter kit because, like I said, I couldn't shake the feeling that this company And these oils were going to be important to our family. So we made it happen. And the first thing I started doing was I looked up, because my enroller sponsor, my friend, gave me a reference guide. And I said, what do I have in here that's good for the immune system and good for the respiratory system? And in my kit, I had frankincense, I had RC, and I had, what was the other one I used? Frankincense, RC, and thieves. And I would put those oils on the bottoms of her feet. I would put them in her diffuser every night, whether she was sick or not. Like I said, she was pretty much always sick. And the thing is, I kind of started learning about prevention, about how prevention is key. And one thing that's really exciting to me about Young Living and about oils is that it didn't just give me a box of oils. It gave me the opportunity to learn about prevention. And this whole world was open to me about natural wellness. So we started doing these things every day. And I'm here, you guys can clap if you want to tell you some really good news. No child, no member of our family has been to the doctor for an illness since November of 2013. So we have my daughter, I told you I was pregnant. So I had my daughter, I had a little baby boy in my belly, and I've had a boy since then. The boy in my belly was born in February of 2014. So that means 2 of my children have never in their lives been to the doctor for an illness. Now, does that mean we don't get sick? No, that's not what it means. What it means is when they do get sick, I know what to do. We have a very strong line of first defense. Like I said, Young Living is so much more to me than just oils, because I've learned all about how to use food as medicine, about how important sleep is, about hydration, about vitamins, about all of this stuff. And so my arsenal now is so much bigger than just bottles of oil. And it's led us to a very healthy lifestyle. So I don't say that to brag. I don't say that to be reckless, because if my children needed to go to the doctor, we would be there. But the thing is, we just haven't gotten to that point since then, because we have been able to stay above a wellness line, because we are so passionate about our oils and we use them every day. So our big win was in the respiratory realm. But I wanted to tell you one more quick story before my time is up. And it is about something you may have heard of called hand, foot, mouth disease. Now, this is like a curse word in the mom world. Like, if you hear hand, foot, mouth, you're like, you know what, keep, scary viruses that circulate, I'm not even worried. Hand, foot, mouth, get me out of here. It's like up there with lice. People freak out, okay? Because it's so contagious and like it goes on forever and ever. So Lucy got hand, foot, mouth disease. And this is actually the doctor's appointment I'm referencing in November 2013. I took her to the doctor because she was supposed to be a little tiny flower girl in a wedding. And I was just like, there's going to be so many other kids there, and they're going to see this horrible rash all over her body. It's like oozing and gross. And I just wanted to confirm what it was. So I went to the doctor, and she said, it is hand, foot, mouth disease. It's viral. There's nothing you can do. It will get worse before it gets better. And she will probably have these oozing sores for at least 10 days. And so I left with a pretty grim future for the next 10 days, because she was hurting, guys. And I'm like, how is she going to be in this wedding? Well, I went home. I opened up that reference guide. If you don't have a reference guide, you need one. Google is not enough, okay? I opened my reference guide, and I was like, okay, viral. What do I do? A lot of our oils have antiviral properties, you guys. So I use oregano, I use thieves, and I use purification. All of those are going to be a little bit spicy. So I diluted them, and I just slathered her down. I even put them in the diffuser. And putting oregano in the diffuser is not generally recommended, but I was desperate. And I'm here to tell you that in my experience with hand, foot, mouth disease, we have experienced it one time in our household, and within 24 hours, every single rash on her body was dried, and within 48 hours, there was no sign that it was ever there to begin with. So praise the Lord, we have like the best hand, foot, mouth experience. So now whenever I hear anybody going, oh my gosh, what do I do? They're not going to be able to go to daycare, and I'm going to have to call everybody I know, and it's, what are we going to do? I'm just like, let me tell you my story. So Anyway, I have talked for exactly 10 minutes. I'm really proud of myself, and I'm going to hop off. But I wanted to just say that what this means to me is empowerment, and it means not being afraid as a mom, and knowing that when sickness does come to your house, you aren't helpless. You have things that can help you, and you have people, all of us, who will help you and who will link arms with you and make sure you are confident in what you're doing. So my turn is over, so I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay, there. Okay. All right. I have to set my timer too because I get windy as well because this is fun. Man, I just really resonated with everything that Madison said. Like, I feel like the oils were kind of, for me, also my entryway into learning more about natural health, thanks to Melinda Hawk. So like, I have a bachelor's in exercise science. I did nutrition in college, and I'm like, I still had no idea about all these tools other than going to the doctor. And we went to the doctor a lot. So my first 4 kids, it was one of my twins. I don't know if she was 5, 6, somewhere around there. She was getting allergy shots, and she got a bad reaction. I think they actually overdosed her on the shot. They gave her the wrong one, and her arm just swelled up to death. And at the same time, Melinda was going through some allergy stuff with her kids. And so I don't even know how we got connected, but she was telling me what she was doing. I'm like, yep. I said, after that reaction with the allergy shots, I'm like, I'm done. We have to go a different route. And so that's when I initially started getting into oils and noticed a big difference. And that's also where I just got really interested in natural health, period. And I went on and I became a naturopathic doctor. If you guys have this book, it's maybe backwards, but I literally, when I got my kit, I literally sat down and I went to Starbucks and I read this whole book, front to back, highlighted, and I just ate it up. It was so much fun. And so anyway, that's kind of how my journey started. Now, a disclaimer, and I know Madison touched on this, and Molly and Melinda will agree with me as well. Oils are so fabulous. They're so powerful, and they're a great tool. You cannot oil your way out of a poor lifestyle or being unhealthy if you don't sleep, if you don't poop every day. When my kids don't feel well or have a headache, we talk about poop. If you're not drinking water, half your body weight in ounces, that does not count. Lemonade does not count. Tea does not count. Coffee does not count. Those little drop things you put in your water, that does not count. Water is water. That's it. Eating nutritiously, taking care of your nervous system. I love chiropractic care, massage therapy. Oh, like I do that monthly, and I'm dying now. Like, I'm not really, it's a first world problem, but I haven't had a massage for like 2 months, and I'm just sad. Anyway, so in emotions are huge. If you have a lot of anger, resentment, just unhealthy emotions that you haven't worked through, man, those manifest physically. So taking care of those things is so important. So anyway, so that's my little side note there. So anyway, so I have several wins with oils. And so I'm going to share, actually, I have quite a few. So, okay, I have 6 minutes and 42 seconds. So, okay, so the first is Melrose. I don't know if you guys, Melrose. So I think actually Molly we talked about this the other day. We have a similar story for earaches. So I put a drop of that on a cotton ball, and I put it in, this is particular for my 10-year-old. I put it in his ear because he would just keep getting earaches all the time, that he would scream and cry. Anyway, so the best story ever is when he was, I don't know, it was kindergarten or first grade. He went to school and his ear hurt and he was crying and telling the teacher, he goes, "You have to call my mom and tell her to bring her oils." So great. I was like, oh, I have a win. Anyway, so that works every time. And, sometimes we have to, replenish the oil, put the cotton ball back in every 15, 20 minutes, but we just keep doing it and it alleviates. And you can put purification or lavender down the jawline. So there's lots of options. So that's a simple one. And the thing is, there's lots of other ways you can use Melrose. There's lots of other ways you can use the other oils that I'm talking about and what the other girls are talking about, because they're so versatile. So Melrose, whatever else you can use it for, but we use it for ears and it's fabulous. Rosemary, okay, this was not on our list, but I can't go without talking about rosemary. And this is probably not in the book, but we use rosemary. I don't know if any of you have older kids. I have 6 kids, and the first 4 are girls, and they're 22 to 16, or is that group, and then I have the next 2 that are 10 and 7. But rosemary we use for menstrual cramps. I kid you not, it's my favorite thing. I love it. I just rub it on the belly. It's so good, and you have to reapply it. I like how you can see my pile of laundry right there. Thanks, that was good. But the other thing rosemary is good for is memory. So put it in the diffuser if your kids are studying, back of the neck. So really good for memory as well. Frankincense. Okay, so this is what I do with frankincense. This is what I do. Oh, okay. So frankincense, I do that because it's so grounding and it smells so yummy and it's so calming. But it's also really good for the skin. So like I just got like a double bonus there. So I use frankincense a lot. So it's great for brain function, cognitive healing, so many great things about frankincense. And so that, and along with peace and calming. And so if you have some of these oils that are known to help with calming, anxiety, different things, one thing that is maybe a little tip that I use, my youngest is on the autism spectrum. And I have a lot of kiddos in my practice that I see they're on the spectrum. And so with that comes a lot of anxiety. It just does. So what I've told parents to do, so you have them find an oil. So I have oils in my office, they could smell them, or if they have oils at home, whatever. Find one that your child likes. And several of them have like separation anxiety. So you find their blanket or their stuffed animal, something they take with them. And so you get them in a calm environment at home, someplace where they feel safe. I have one kiddo that always smelled his mom's hair. Like during the consultation, he was constantly going back and smelling his mom's hair because that was grounding to him. So I said, put some oil in your hair, put it somewhere where he feels safe. You know, if you're laying in bed and that's his safe spot, and you have him smell it. Okay, so then you put it on an object or himself. And so then when he's out and he's in an environment where he might feel anxious, he can smell that. Well, what happens? You go back to that safe spot and it's just calming. So that's just a good little tip for if you yourself struggle with anxiety, put it on your wrist. I do that with lemon a lot because to me it's very calming. It's just refreshing. So that's just a little tip if some of you have that type of issue. Panaway. So this one we use for injuries because we have a lot of injuries. And I have 2 boys and 4 girls. So I'm not even a boy mom like some of my other co-hosts here. So I think we've had broken fingers, broken toes. I don't know how many sprained ankles, broken wrist. I don't know. But okay, so this is one of those like situations where people are probably like seeing me and rolling their eyes like, oh, she's so weird. But during one of my girls' volleyball games, she rolled her ankle. So I'm over there taking care of her. And so I run out to my van real quick and I get this and I'm secretly like putting it in my hand and rubbing it on her ankle. You know, I don't want anybody to see because it's weird. But that's what I did. And so last year, one of my kids had really bad ankle sprain and she was out for a couple months. And so every time I would go to tape her ankle when she got back in to play in, I would always rub pan away. Sometimes I didn't have pan away, so I'd put peppermint. I'd rub it on there, and then I'd tape her ankle, and it just helps loosen it up, helps with healing. Anyway, so good. Okay, so then peppermint, so good for injuries. I use that a lot for digestion. If I overeat, which none of us are doing right now during this time at home all day long, constantly cooking for all these kids that think they need to eat all the time. Are you kidding me? Okay, so peppermint, I just put a drop under my tongue, and sometimes I have to do it every 15 minutes, and it's fabulous. It just kind of helps settle the tummy. So you can do that with your kids. It's great for alertness. If they're studying, put it in the diffuser. So all sorts of things for peppermint. Okay, so I have my notes here, so just one second. Okay, so then I did talk a little bit about, my timer went off. Oh dear. Okay, so just wait. Okay, so lemon. It's my last one, so I already told you a little bit. It's great. I put it on my wrist. It's kind of like my fragrance. Great for cleaning the air. Awesome for the immune system. For fevers, for littles or older kids, I always rub it on their spine, and it's beautiful. You just keep reapplying it, and they smell good. They don't have that stinky sick smell, and then it's also helpful for the immune system. Okay. I think I'm done. Thank you.
Molly, are you next?
That was awesome. That was awesome, though. Those were so good stories. I'm like, gosh, timer.
I could have kept going, but
I know. And we, the four of us moms, we could teach hours of class. That's why the other day when we had this meeting to plan this, we were like, we're going to have to set the timer for 10 minutes each. Like, we could all go on for hours, because combined we have taken care of our families from newborn to age 22. And so we have got, we've got plenty of stories. So like I mentioned earlier, if you're just joining us, get a piece of paper, fold it in fourths, oils that you need. Be writing your list of oils that you need, and then friends and family that need, and write down. So if you hear a story that resonates, you can go, oh my gosh, that I need to get that. I need to add that to my collection. So I'm setting my timer now, because I forgot to a second ago. And so, all right. So boy mom here, like she mentioned, yes, we were just in the emergency room last weekend. I mean, we just love it, right? So let me tell you about our experiences with our broken bones, bruises, whatever. So there is an awesome and amazing educator out there called Peter Minke. Peter Minke, I don't know how to say that name, but whenever we went to Gold Retreat, the retreat that Melinda's talking about, whenever we went up to Idaho, his wife had these CDs that, this is like back, it was like almost like black market CDs, because it's back when compliance came out. And so they were all these stories of him being a doctor and how he used the oils for his family. You can't get them now, but I got one and I listened to it. And one of the tips I learned was Valor. So Valor is amazing. You need to have Valor with you all the time. It's very comforting, very relaxing. It's great. It calms us down. But I literally, back in 2015, it was the night before he turned 3. So he was 2. My 2-year-old was catapulted across the room and landed wrong. And there were brothers that catapulted him. It was very fun. And so, but landed wrong and broke both bones in his arm. His arm was like coming back this way. Super scary. Okay. We had never had a broken bone before, and he was my baby. Okay. So with that, I grabbed my oils. That's the first thing I did. I grabbed my oils before I went to him, and I was like, okay, he's going to be okay. Let me go get my oils. And I went and got my oils, and I started going, okay, I'm going to pour these on. So I started pouring on oils, and I literally used one bottle, the 5 ml bottle of Valor, the whole bottle, okay, on him. I was taking off the orifice and like pouring it on him, putting it on his crown. Then we had a 3-hour drive to Children's Hospital in Little Rock. And when we got there, they were like, we think he's in shock, because anyone that's arm is going back this way and he's not crying, it's not swollen, it's not bruising. We don't know what's wrong with him. He's in shock. And I said, no, he's purely under the influence of Valor. So my little commercial in the emergency room, they were like, what the heck is Valor? And I told him, I was like, it helps to calm you down, but it also helps with bumps, bruises, stuff like that. Something that Peter Meinke said, he said his kid came in and had a goose egg. Has your kid ever hit and has like a huge goose egg coming up? You obviously don't have wild kids then if you haven't. But he said, take it and just pour it in your hand and then just put it on. So whenever he broke his arm, I thought, well, this isn't a goose egg. This is a broken bone. We're just going to pour it on. That was back when Valor was out of stock too, mind you, okay? All right, so I also used Palo Santo and Cypress on his arms at that time. Heliochrysum is a great one. I went to my reference guide and it said broken bone blend, and I mixed up those oils, and I overnighted some of them to myself. And then Super C. I learned in that time the chewable Super C. Super C is so important for broken bones, but also for building your bones. And so he was taking Super C, the chewable, for his broken bone. All right, so another thing that we are never without in our home is Ningxia Red. So if you know me and you know my story, my oldest son is a type 1 diabetic. And so I get asked all the time, what do you use that balances blood sugar? What do you use for diabetes? All diabetics are different. We control most of it with our food. We eat mostly proteins and leafy green vegetables. And so, but these are two products that never leave our home. And if Young Living goes out of stock, it's because I bought them out. Because these are two products that never go off of my Essential Rewards. Ningxia Red and multigreens, okay? These are what he takes every single day. He also takes sulfurzymes too. That's another great one because it helps the absorption of his insulin into his body. He didn't have to use as much insulin. But this balances his blood sugar. In fact, my sister, many of you don't know that my sister's Laura Hopkins. My sister is Laura, and we went back on Valentine's Day, we went on a little weekend off, and he went low on her. His blood sugar went low, and she was trying to get it back up. And she was like, Ningxia is not going to get his blood sugar back up like super fast. I said, no, this is a balancer. This balances your blood sugar. And so I have a whole video on diabetes if you want to watch that. It's on my YouTube channel. But multigreens, he takes between 6 and 8 multigreens a day, and that's what his body needs. So those are the two things that we have. Now, here's my story with Ningxia though, okay? I didn't drink this because I don't like fruity stuff. I like tart stuff, okay? I like some a little punch. And so with that, I had to add my own little punch to it. So I would put this in my shot glass. And literally, I had a lady come in and clean in my house once, a Hispanic lady, and I'm like pouring with my bottle and pouring my shot glass. And she goes, oh, happy day to mama. I said, oh, this is for my kids. And I thought, oh, this is for my kids. She's probably thinking I'm serving my kids alcohol at 8 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, but it was so funny because if you come to our house, we have shot glasses sitting around because that's how we shoot our Ningxia Red, okay? So I poured it in there and we take a shot glass of this. He drinks about between 6-8 ounces a day sometimes. So this is our magic bullet in our house. This is the jungle juice that works because my husband has not had kidney stones since he's been drinking it. And if you've ever had kidney stones, you don't ever want them back, okay? So when he started drinking this and he noticed, hey, I haven't had that twinge in my bladder. I haven't had kidney stones. He was like, we will never be without that ever again. And we are not. So bam, that is one reason. Another reason is when I was pregnant with that third child that's really tough, When I was pregnant with him, this is the reason he's tough. I drink this with him. That was why he's so tough. And so he just, but at the same time, when I gave birth to him and I was drinking this when I was pregnant, the doctor that delivered was not my doctor. And he said, "Oh, mama is healthy." He said, "This umbilical cord shows that you eat a large amount of fruits and vegetables." And I thought, actually, we're building a house and I had Sonic yesterday, you know? And so literally, like, I wasn't eating what I should have when I was pregnant, but by golly, I was drinking 6 to 8 ounces of this a day. And that is what helped my baby, okay? After he was born, I was able to nurse him without any supplement. The other 2, I had to supplement milk, and I didn't ever produce enough milk. And I promise you, it was the Nink Red. Like, I thought that kid was going to nurse going to kindergarten, okay? Because I couldn't even wean him. I was like, kept on producing milk. And so that is Nink Red, get it. Get on Essential Rewards. That's the cheapest way to get it. And get you some bottles of Nink Red. All right. I have a minute to spare. I'm the one that set the timer rule. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Oh, so let me talk about, just real quick, Raven. So I had Raven and RC. This was one of my gateways for asthma and allergy. I was a Febreze-aholic. I wanted my house to smell really good. Like when you open the door, like you could smell it, right? And when we walked in, you could smell us. I like to smell good. And so I didn't know that was killing my lungs and my allergies and my asthma. So I started using RC and Raven just straight from the bottle. And I just cup it like that and go. And there is somebody walking by my window in the neighborhood right now as I'm huffing. And so I just suck it from the bottle. And so that right there helped strengthen my lungs. When we moved in 2012, I found an inhaler. I had to throw it away. I hadn't used them in 2 or 3 years, and I had to throw it away because it was expired. So that helped me overcome asthma and allergies. And so those are my stories. Moving along to Melinda. We get to hear all about Melinda's stories now.
Okay, I'm gonna set my timer. Okay, so I was trying to think of what to share of the last 7 years. And I'm going to start with the asthma and allergies because, yeah, Anna is right. That's when we began to have success in the whole asthma allergies area, I could not stop because my story is similar to Madison with kids that we were in the doctor's office every week. Guys, I grew up and my parents like never took me to the doctor, like almost ever. And so like when I had kids, and in particular, my youngest caught RSV as a 12-week-old, and it damaged his lungs. He was in the hospital for a few days around 12 weeks. He was in the hospital around 6 months. He was back in the hospital around 9 months, back in the hospital around 12 months. And I remember asking the doctor, I'm like, because none of my other 3 kids were like this. And he was my big sumo wrestler baby that everybody's like, oh, he looks so healthy. And I'm like, the kid he still sleeps on my chest sitting up because he doesn't breathe well. So in spite of the beautiful sumo wrestler, you know, I'm finally producing enough milk, which I wasn't. I was supplementing too. I finally, when he was between 12 and 13 months, begged our doctor. I'm like, this can't continue. He was already on daily breathing treatments where we strapped that little mask over his face. And I'm like, my oldest had already my second one had actually already started allergy shots and had been on shots for a year. And then we'd seen some improvement with that. I begged to go get some allergy testing with the baby. And he was like, babies don't get allergies. And I'm like, he has all the same stuff as his brother. Anyway, fast forward to another hospitalization at 15 months. And they finally agreed to refer us onto an allergist. And when he had all the testing, he was allergic to everything. At that point, my allergist said, we're going to start him on allergy shots. He was 17 months old at the time. And I was like, I have to take 2 kids into the doctor now weekly to get allergy shots. And he's a baby. Anyway, so that began our, well, that was kind of the next step to our journey. He was already still on, breathing treatments. We were doing over-the-counter medications with him. We started the allergy shots. I will say the allergy shots stopped the hospitalizations. So I saw that as a big win. I'm like, okay, good. We are going to get better. Guys, it stopped the hospitalizations, but did not stop the asthma attacks. And so I remember visiting with my allergist, the kids' allergist, and she's like, you are going to have to get rid of all your candles, all your Febreze, your bleach, your Clorox, your 409. Guys, I'm a little bit of an OCD personality. Like, I like things clean. And we live downwind 400 yards from a chicken farm. Like, it was always gross. And for her to tell me that I couldn't use Glade plugins, and this is a regular doctor, because that was also exacerbating his allergies. I remember like almost having a nervous breakdown. But I threw it all away. And then, so he was maybe 2 around that time. And we saw some minor improvements. He was not like crawling across the floor and then, struggling to breathe. And I began to put that association together with, oh, when he was crawling, I had just mopped with Pine Sol. Nobody told me that babies crawling across Pine Sol or 409, it says on the back of the bottle to wear a mask and gloves. Well, our babies don't wear masks and gloves. And what are we cleaning with? And what are they crawling through? So, but again, that is the only doctor that's actually ever told me that. And she was like this 80-year-old allergist that is now not in practice anymore. So fast forward, he was 4 and I met Joy Ballard. So we're going through, the last 3 years, and she was a mom in my mom's group who noticed we were constantly on the prayer chain because Nate still had a lot of asthma issues. And the other kids had some other stuff. She also introduced not just oils, but like she goes, have you ever thought about like what you're feeding your kids might also be affecting their health? Which my mom was like, and Anna can attest to this, she grew up and she lives down the road from my mom, like organic, crunchy, would stop the car and pick weeds out in the ditch in the neighborhood. And I'm a teenager in the car, so she could put him in salad. Lord help me. Like, I ran the other direction, like Trix cereal and milk. And, if I could cook out of a box and never enter the kitchen, I was happy. So Joy not only introduced oils, but she also kind of pointed me back to what my mama had said. So all you mamas out there with kids who are like, they don't listen to me, just keep praying. Because now I call my mama for a lot of cooking stuff. I'm like, Mom, what do you do? Like, anyway. So diet and lifestyle absolutely matters. When we started using the oils on Nathaniel, and I'm going to do a quick thieves story, lemon, lavender, and peppermint got him off of the daily 24-hour Claritin and Zyrtec within 2 weeks. Didn't need it. Haven't hardly ever needed it in the last 7 years. But it did not get him off of those allergy shots. I couldn't kick the inhalers. And that's when Joy's prompted me again, like, maybe let's go see a naturopathic doctor and get some testing done. Well, the kid had even though this didn't show up in his allergy testing, some pretty significant responses, I'll call it that, to gluten and dairy. I grew up in a household where my dad has celiac disease, and I knew what cooking gluten-free meant. And I was like, well, I won't say that. I was like, no, I cannot do that. I can't. Like, again, near nervous breakdown. Again, Joy Ballard, who enrolled me with the oil, said, I will help you. Like, guys, when you enroll with any of us, we don't just say, here you go. We will walk alongside you. Joy helped me kind of relearn how to cook and gave me suggestions and brainstormed not just oils and supplements. She introduced the Ningxia Red. She introduced Thieves Household Cleaner to me. I had been cleaning with baking soda and vinegar, which does clean, but your house constantly smells kind of like a big pickle jar. Ugh. You know, I missed my Bath and Body Works. I mean, I loved that stuff. So when she introduced oils, not only did I get like my happy smells back, but I could clean again with something that my kids could clean with, and the baby who is now, 4, not crawling anymore. Although boys roll in everything. I don't care if they're walking. They roll and launch and jump, and they're still crawling through all the crap. So I could hand them a bottle of cleaner, and they went and cleaned the toilets and the wall behind the toilets, because boys just don't aim well. And I had no fear in what they were using. So, because I've got 2 minutes left and I feel like a squirrel. Huge thing that I learned, oils, like the other mom said, were kind of my gateway drug into healthier living, or pointing back to my roots, that my mom, who was really strange in her time, she was not the normal mom, was right, like in what she had attempted to teach me and I had thrown out the window. And so I actually wrote my mom a letter, because I couldn't do it over the phone, and like, thank you, Mom, for what you tried to teach me. And I pray someday my kids will do that. And then I dove into, we went ahead and pulled out gluten and dairy. Guys, I'm married to a dairy farming family that won Farmer of the Year. That was like an actual assault in some ways on their character. 2 of my kids now, my husband, don't do dairy. And I still eat dairy. It doesn't bother me at all, like at all. But 2 of my kids taking dairy out of their diet and changing their diet to a healthier diet, that is what got them off the allergy shots. That is what totally kicked all of the inhalers. So the complete package was, we used a lot of oils, cleaned crap out of our house, introduced the whole entire Thieves line, changed diet, and we were able to get that kid off of all of his asthma allergy medications. And does he still struggle with allergies? A little. This has been a rough spring. But now he's 11, and he gets his shot of Ninja, like Molly said, or if he's lazy, he just gets a little shot glass of water, and he drops lavender straight into it and swigs it down. He's been doing that since he was 4. So if somebody tells me like, oh, there's my timer, that they're like, oh, I can't stand the taste, I'm like, well, suck it up, do a little bit of juice, chase it with Ninja, whatever. My 11-year-old's been doing this since he's 4. We're adults, we can do it too. If you're really desperate, and today was a particularly horribly windy day and he wanted to play outside and he came in sneezing. He went and got his own shot glass of his favorites, lemon, lavender, copaiba, and he does peppermint. Not everybody can do peppermint, and that's okay. He's been doing that for like 7 years now. He does all 4 in a shot glass, swigs it back, and then he can go play outside for another 4 to 6 hours, and he's totally cool. So I feel like I just dumped a whole bunch of stuff on there, but that's my little story in a really little nutshell. I'll give it back to Molly.
That's awesome, though. That is awesome. All right, so we are going to move along to Madison, because she's going to help us talk a little bit more about the oils.
Okay, so this went so fast. Like, I love listening to everyone's stories. This is my favorite part about this, is hearing other people's victories. And I don't know if anyone just saw me on the video, but I just made myself a capsule of copaiba, frankincense, and lavender, because I have like hives on me right now. I've been itching like crazy lately. So anyway, that's fun. But guys, thank you for coming. I'm really digging this format because it's still super convenient and we can do it from home, but we get to see everybody's faces. And I think most importantly, you get to hear the passion behind our stories, because this is our heart, you guys. Like, we're just so excited to get to tell you guys these stories. And I know it felt like an info dump. It probably felt like a lot of information, especially if you're new. But like Molly said, this has been recorded. So if you need to go back and re-listen to stuff, you will get the opportunity, okay? So let's talk about next steps. If you are already a member of Young Living, We're just really glad that you're here, and we're really glad that you said yes to this lifestyle. I think that was a common theme within all of our little story times, was that this is not just about a box of oils we bought once upon a time. This is a whole lifestyle for us. So I hope tonight that you felt empowered as you were listening to us. I hope though when you're taking notes on your cute little quadrant marked paper that Molly showed you, that you guys wrote down some names of people, like who came to mind when you were hearing these stories. Like obviously you're taking notes for yourself, you're having some light bulb moments, you're getting great ideas, but I know that there are some moms in your life who you thought, oh my gosh, this reminds me of, you know, Rachel's kid. He has asthma. I have to tell them. And guys, you have to tell them. Like, aren't you so glad that somebody told you what you know now? So all of that to say, if you're already a Young Living member and you're feeling excited tonight and you want to have a class like this, talk to the person who invited you. And I guarantee you they will be super happy to help you host one. And if they're still kind of like, whoa, I don't know about that, then they'll get you in touch with one of us and we'll be happy to help you, because we're just so happy to do this. And I hope that comes across, because we just love this. If you're not a member, I am just really glad that you got a glimpse of what our community is all about. Because for me, like I said, Young Living has changed my life in so many ways. Not only with the wellness of my family and the vitality of my family, but they've provided me with a community and a network of friends and people who are constantly in my corner to support me and that cheer me on all the time. So after tonight's meeting, the question is, how do you see yourself getting started? And there are lots of options. The most popular option that people love is the premium starter kit. And what you're gonna get is it's 12 bottles of oil, and they're not like sample sizes, you guys. They're big, full-size bottles that have, depending on the thickness of the oil, like 90 to 100 drops of oil. So you're getting 12 bottles of oil, but the coolest part is they're not like throwaway oils. Have you guys ever done that where you get like a bundle that's supposed to be a really good deal, and there's like one or two cool things and the rest of it's like junk they wanted to get off the shelf? That's not happening with this, okay? This 12 bottles of oil, that it's called the Everyday Oils Collection because they are oils you will use every single day. So it's like, yes, are there going to be oils that are on your wish list that you want to add to the mix? Of course. You're gonna keep collecting until you've got a big room of oils like me. But those 12 oils is going to be everything you need to get started, okay? So it comes with 12 oils. It comes with a diffuser, a gorgeous diffuser with a 1-year warranty, might I add, which if you have kids, you might need the warranty. If you mix cords and electricity and water and little running children in the house, you might have to implement that warranty. But luckily they got your back there, okay? But the best part is with the premium starter kit is that you also get your membership. Your membership is going to give you 24% off of everything you order. It's going to give you access to the Essential Rewards program. And that is a monthly ordering program that just basically pays you back for shopping each month, which is so cool. Now, it is optional, but if you're in this for the lifestyle change, which I know you are, because you're here because you wanted to do something great for your family. And the message I found consistent with all of us is it wasn't just about buying a box of oils. It was about embracing the change. It was about getting rid of stuff. It was about, you know, making hard choices and saying no to something we love, like candles and Febreze and stuff, and switching over to simpler alternatives. So that monthly ordering program, it is optional, but it is the best way to get started on truly changing everything. So your membership is going to give you access to a discount. It's going to give you access to that ordering program, but it's also going to give you access to our community. And I feel like that is totally priceless, okay? You're going to have people who are supporting you, people who can answer your questions, people who are going to cheer you on when the decisions get kind of hard to make, because it happens. All of this is positive, but not all of it's easy. Like, let's just be real, okay? But it's so worth it, guys. You're going to look back in a year, you're going to sign up, you're going to get this kit. You're going to look back, and tonight is going to be a pivotal moment. You're going to look back in a year and go, my life is better now. It is different because of what I learned that night. And that makes me super excited. So the premium starter kit with essential oils is the way that most people get started. And it's $165. It has a value of almost $400, which is crazy to me, but it's our way to welcome you to our community. There are other kits like a thieves cleaning, a thieves household kit that has toothpaste and cleaner, hand soap. It's kind of your ditch and switch, get rid of everything bad, replace it with everything good, one stop. That is a really great place to start as well. I would say it's the second most popular. There's also a Ningxia Red starter kit, which we've had several mamas in here talk about Ningxia Red and some pretty cool testimonies with that, and blood sugar balancing and milk supply and stuff like that. There's also a CBD starter kit, which CBD is all the rage right now because, CBD is kind of like the magic button. It helps so many body systems. And there's also something that's kind of new called the Welcome Home Kit that has a lower price point, and it has a bunch of oils, but it doesn't have a diffuser. So maybe you already have some off-brand diffusers and you're ready to kind of give up your grocery store oils or your drugstore oils that just are not seed to seal quality, but you don't want to waste a diffuser that still does the trick. If you have a diffuser at home, the Welcome Home Kit might be a good option for you. So when this is over, get with the person who invited you and set up your own Mama Bear class with them, because you owe it to the people in your life. You owe it to the other moms in your life, the people's names that you wrote down on that paper. You owe it to them to tell them everything you learned tonight and everything you've experienced on your own stories. And if you're brand new, if you have not signed up yet, expect that the person who invited you will follow up with you, because we want to make sure that you are ready to take the next step.
Downstairs.
We got to start.
I'll say your daddy.
So I'm going to take that as my cue because I'm done. So we're going to end the recording here in a minute and open it up to questions. Molly, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I think that is great. And I am so glad. Thank you, ladies, for helping us educate everyone tonight. This was great. And like she said, if you want to host this, please contact the person that invited you.